Well, hi there, I'm Casey.
And I'm Corey.
And we are the Wright Brothers. I'd like to welcome you to our November podcast.
And this being the month of Thanksgiving, we wanted to talk with you guys about something that we are very thankful for. As tech lovers, we are thankful for our computers. And one of the things that people have started to talk about a lot lately, especially over this whole year, is the differences between Macs and PCs. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages, and are you ready for the switch? And
absolutely. It's really interesting. There's been a lot of really interesting numbers released over the last couple weeks pertaining to Apple's, sort of supremacy in the computer market. I think it's 9 straight quarters now. They've improved their market share in terms of the U.S. computer market. They're now the number 3 distributor of all computers in the entire United States. They released a 32% improvement in their market share over the last quarter. And all of that just indicates that I think a lot more people are thinking about making the switch from a PC to a Mac. They're thinking about that as a more viable platform for everyday computing use.
Absolutely. You look at their stock price over the last year, just since January, has gone up 120%. Just showing that a lot of people are really starting to invest into Macs and kind of starting to make the switch from PC. By the time this podcast gets released, they will be just releasing their new operating system, Leopard, as well. A lot of great things and kind of mystery going on around Mac and why is it performing so well. So we wanted to talk to you today about the differences between PCs and Macs, talk about the advantages and disadvantages of both, and then hopefully help you decipher if you're ready to make the switch or if maybe PC is the one for you. So got a lot of great information. It's a fun one for us. Let's dive in. Alright, so Mac versus PC. Are you ready for the switch? Let's first start by talking about the advantages and disadvantages of Macs and PCs. What are some of the main advantages of owning a PC?
Okay, I think there's a lot of big advantages to owning a PC. I categorize 4 main ones. The first one is that they are endlessly customizable. I mean, just about anything you want to put into a PC you can do. I mean, if you want to put a new video card, new audio card, you want to add memory, anything. It's just completely customizable. The second thing is that they're really compatible, and that sort of speaks to that first point too. Any new piece of software, any new peripheral device is going to work with a Windows operating system. It's just designed to work that way. The third thing is that they're very cheap. They're very inexpensive. You can find $300, $400 great PCs out there, and you just don't find anything like that in the Mac world. And then the last thing I think is, and you can't overlook this one enough, is that there's much more customer support for PCs. It's a lot easier to find support when 90% of the world is on that platform. 90% of the world can offer you advice on how to better use that platform.
Absolutely. A lot of advantages of a PC. I think the main disadvantage of a PC is the overall user experience. There's a lot of things that just kind of make you throw your hands up and ask why your computer is doing that. Why you have to install a printer. You can't just plug it in and use it. Why you're getting do you want to send the error report or not send the error report, and why did the program end to begin with? There's a lot of things that just kind of that you start to think about, and the user experience just isn't as seamless as it could be.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads us into the advantages of the Mac. What are some of the main advantages of a Mac?
Well, it's exactly what you're talking about with the PC. Like, the exact disadvantage for a PC is the exact advantage for a Mac. And that is all of those things disappear. Those cryptic error messages, the installing drivers, all that is just gone. It's a much better user experience. And you really can't stress this enough. It's even the little things. There's the things you don't even think about until you get on a Mac platform and you go, wow, that works that way? I never knew it could be that simple. So that's just definitely a big thing. The second thing that I look at and I go, this is a really big advantage for Macs, is the media capabilities. And this is why, you'll find anybody in the film industry, graphic design, anybody in those types of industries is going to be using a Mac. And that's just because the media functionality on a Mac is so far superior to what you find on a PC. And not only can you do more on a Mac, it's easier to do it. So you can do more and it's easier. So it really just a double-edged sword there. It's a great operating system for doing anything in terms of media. And the last thing is it's a more stable platform. You just don't get the error messages. You don't get the spam and the viruses in the same proportion that you get on a PC.
Perfect. Now some of the disadvantages of a Mac, obviously the first one, the main one, would be the price. That they are expensive. It is a great user experience, but you certainly pay a premium for that user experience. And it doesn't just stop when you buy the computer, it goes on to every little step along the road too.
It never stops.
That's right. That when you want to buy that little cable just to plug in your camera to your Mac, you now have a $30 cable that you have to buy. Or when you want to buy a DVD burner that's external, you have to buy a specific Mac DVD burner. Yeah. So all the peripherals are mostly made Mac specific. There's not that generic brand that you can go out. Sony doesn't make them all for Mac and PC. They make them most for PC, for example. Which kind of leads us to the second disadvantage of a Mac is that its peripherals or its compatibility, and mainly the peripherals that we were talking about. The software has become such a universal thing nowadays that And they're making them both for Mac and PCs.
And not only that, just to sort of tag on that point, the new operating system that has just come out, Leopard, actually has this new thing on it called Boot Camp, which allows you to run any piece of Windows software. Even if it's designed for a Windows computer, you can use it on a Mac now. So the software issues are completely gone, but you're right, the peripheral compatibility issues still persist, and they can be irritating and expensive.
Absolutely. So those are kind of a brief rundown on the Macs and PCs. Now here's the funny thing. I think that that Macs and PCs have essentially had the same book on them for the last 5-7 years.
Yeah.
They've essentially had the same advantages and the same disadvantages. Why are so many people just now considering making a switch that weren't considering making the switch 5 years ago?
I think it's a great question. You know, it's really interesting because we could have had this exact same podcast 5-7 years ago. Everything would have been the exact same. I think why you have so many people making that switch today is a three-pronged effect. And the first part of it is something that industry insiders call the iPod halo effect. And basically the iPod halo effect, what this is the idea that as people become more comfortable using their iPods and their iPhones, and they really get used to that experience, and they say, I really like the way this thing works, they say, it'd be nice to have a computer that worked this way, and they start to give Macs a shot. The second thing is that I think Apple has done a great job marketing themselves, communicating the advantages of their operating system. They've been far superior at PC in doing this. And you look at like those cute commercials where, you know, I'm a Mac, I'm a PC, and you know they're sort of corny, but they're great at communicating the advantages of a Mac over a PC. And I think they're designed for the novice computer user. They're designed for somebody who's going, you know, what's so great about a Mac? And so they market themselves very well. And then the last thing is that I think they just are great at developing customer evangelists. You know, everybody that uses a Mac for any substantive period of time starts to tell people about it. And they tell people how much they love their Mac. They tell people how much they need a Mac. And I think that when you start to add all three of those things together, it sort of creates a culture where a lot more people are taking a look at Mac now than they were just a few years ago.
You know, I think it's funny as you start to talk about those three things, I never heard you say that they've just improved their product so much over the last 5 years. And it really goes to show that, I mean, PCs have been equally as good at improving their product as Macs have been over the last 5 years. They continue to both move forward and make bounds and leaps to their advantages and try and really help their disadvantage.
That is such a good point. You know, and that's something that PCs really don't get enough credit for this. You know, the knock on PCs is that they don't innovate, they don't improve, they just steal ideas from other people. But you know, that's really not true. If you look at PC, the new operating system, the Vista, you know, it comes with it basically shores up the two biggest knocks that you used to have on PCs. That it wasn't a pretty operating system, it didn't look nice, and now it's a beautiful operating system. The second thing is the security layering is far better than anything that's ever been on a Mac before. They just haven't been able to communicate those advantages or to get customers excited about it in the same way Apple does it.
So we kind of walk through all that stuff. Let's bring it home. Who's ready to make the switch from a PC to a Mac?
Okay, I think there are two groups of people who are really ready to make this switch. The first group of people, I'd say, if you're somebody who's just fed up with the PC experience, you say, I'm sick of those error messages, I'm sick of the error reports and all that stuff, I just don't want to deal with that anymore. I think, and you're willing to pay a premium for an improved user experience, I think a Mac is your computer. I think that's right up your alley. I think the second group of people who are really ready for a Mac are people who say, you know, I want to unleash my creative side. I want to get into websites, I want to get into podcasts, I want to start organizing a photo album or doing something with videos. If that's really what you're looking to do with your computer, I think a Mac is going to be a much better platform to do that on than a PC.
Perfect. So hopefully we've been able to kind of enlighten you on the differences between Macs and PCs and help make you more educated about the decision of are you ready for the switch. We'd like to thank you for watching our podcast as always and leave you with one final note. We'd love to get your guys' feedback and know what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of in our podcast. We're new at doing this, just like you guys are new at watching us do it. So any feedback or suggestions or topic suggestions, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to start to cater more to exactly what you guys want. So thank you for watching, and here's a preview of our upcoming publications.